Greetings and salutations, comics fans, and welcome to another round of graphic grappling on Grudge Match, the show that takes the best that DC and Marvel Comics has to offer and thrusts them into single combat to determine who is the ultimate fighter. Today's episode will seek to find who could very well prove the top femme fatale of all when we see the collision of Marvel's super spy and assassin extraordinaire. It's Black Widow against the silent siren of Gotham City and daughter of Lady Shiva. It's Batgirl. Now, there have been several characters to hold both of these monikers throughout the years of Black Widow and Batgirl, but these two characters in Natasha Romanoff and Cassandra Cain make for the most logical comparison of all the characters who have ever held those two titles because of the similarities in their backstories as well as the similarities in their current skill level. So taking a look at them individually and starting with Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, also known as Natalia Romanova, first created in 1964. Now, her backstory has never been completely solidified. There's been a few different versions, but the most common backstory for her childhood is that she was a Russian orphan who was inducted into the Black Widow training program at early childhood. The Black Widow training program in Soviet Russia was also known as the Red Room. This is the same training program that brainwashed Winter Soldier and turned him into the assassin that he later became. Now, the Black Widow Red Room program altered her memory, so even she isn't sure about the truth of her life before she went into that program. Not only was she trained from early childhood in espionage, combat, weaponry, seduction, and all manner of skills that she would need to become a top-tier assassin and super spy, she was also given a derivative of the super soldier serum, the thing that gave Captain America all of his abilities. Now, this was not a refined version, the way the super soldier serum in Captain America is, but it was the Russian knockoff of it, which allows Natasha Romanova to be eternally youthful and to have peak-level physical skills beyond what a woman of her size and stature would appear to be able to have. So yes, Natasha is peak human strength, speed, agility, stamina, senses, healing, durability, all physical skills at max peak human efficiency. So this makes her much stronger, much faster, much more agile than a normal human would be. Even humans who have extensively trained and worked out can't match the kind of feats that she can do. She's been seen to dodge gunfire at relatively close range. She's been seen to lift upwards of 500-600 pounds, which a woman of her stature should not be able to do, but her musculature is much more enhanced and developed than that of a normal person. Add to these peak physical skills, she is also a master martial artist and an acrobat, and she's been trained, as said before, from the Red Room program in multiple combat styles, all manner of hand-to-hand combat techniques, all manner of weapons training in terms of hand weapons, in terms of firearms, in terms of explosives. She's an expert sniper and marksman. Not only is she well trained in all of these areas, but she has extensive expertise in them because of the super soldier serum keeping her eternally youthful. She has actually been in action since the 1960s or so. Oftentimes, comic books will use a sliding timescale when it comes to their long-standing characters and retcon their origins every couple of decades to make them more in line with their physical appearance. But characters like Black Widow, this has not been true. She is stated to have been born in around 1940, and that's never changed from her earliest inclusion into the Marvel Universe. So the super soldier serum keeps her eternally youthful and has allowed her to remain an active combatant and assassin and member of the Avengers for the last 60 or so years. Batgirl, or this version of Batgirl, real name known as Cassandra Cain, first created in 1999. She's the daughter of two of the most accomplished assassins and combatants in the DC universe, that of Lady Shiva and David Cain. David Cain, her father, wanted to sire and raise the ultimate assassin who would then go on to become the ultimate bodyguard for Ra's al Ghul. So he had a daughter with Lady Shiva and then took her and trained her from birth to be the best assassin in the world, teaching her all manner of hand-to-hand combat techniques and weapons proficiency. And she was never taught to speak or read. Instead, she was only ever taught to read body language as the only language she understood. This has the effect of making her mute in modern day, but it also made her incredibly adept at reading people's movements, to the point of seemingly combat precognition. She can so easily and effortlessly read the body language and movements of her opponents that she can expertly predict their movements, allowing her a sort of precognition when in hand-to-hand combat with an opponent. Now, of course, because of her extensive training for her entire life, she has peak human conditioning, peak human strength, speed, agility, and stamina, all manner of physical skills, and, of course, is a master martial artist, having been trained in all manner of assassins' techniques from the League of Assassins and her father, David Kane. At the age of 8 years old, he tried to test his daughter and his training of her up to that point by sending her on her first hit. She committed the murder that she was supposed to, but in doing so, she realized that she hated it because of her ability to read the body language of her opponents. She read the body language of the man she had killed as he was dying, and she hated the way it felt. It emotionally scarred her, and at that point, she ran away from her father and decided that killing was wrong and decided to become a good person fighting for justice rather than an assassin. Eventually, she would collide with Oracle in Gotham City and eventually Batman and become the new Batgirl. And as Batgirl, she utilizes a lot of the technology and weaponry that you see from the entire Bat family of heroes. A bat suit that is very resistant to damage, utility belt with all manner of weapons and grappling hooks and batarangs within it. So all the kind of stuff you see Batman often utilizing, you see Batgirl using as well. But most often falling back on her exceptional physical skills and hand-to-hand combat techniques, making her the most dangerous hand-to-hand combatant, right up there with her mother, Lady Shiva, in the DC Universe. So having taken a look at these two characters more in depth, it's time to determine what would happen if they were to ever go to blows in one-on-one competition. The winner's going to be Black Widow. So the hand-to-hand combat skills of these two are probably on equal footing, but where it edges in Black Widow's favor is in twofold areas. For one, her physical skills are going to be slightly superior to that of Batgirl's because of the Super Soldier Serum, pushing Black Widow's strength, speed, agility, and physical skills beyond what a woman of her size and stature would be able to do. That's not something Batgirl has going for her. Batgirl is only going to be able to be as strong and as fast and as agile as a woman of her size and her musculature would normally be. She doesn't have the Super Soldier Serum giving her that extra push. Additionally, Black Widow has the edge in experience, having been in action for over 60 years as an assassin and as a combatant and as a member of the Avengers, so she's got several years of experience over Batgirl at her disposal. Now, Batgirl has a few trumps in her favor. The ability to read the body language of an opponent could put her on more equal footing with Black Widow, but it's not the kind of thing that is going to make her unbeatable in combat. A sufficiently skilled opponent can still overcome Batgirl even if she's reading their movements. Somebody who is fast enough and has good enough reflexes to maybe even strike faster than Batgirl can read her movements is still going to be able to overcome her in combat. And though Batgirl has the bat suit, the utility belt, the bat weapons, Black Widow has a few of her own, including a battle suit that is equally damage resistant, and the famed Widow gauntlets that have the Black Widow sting on them, a grappling hook, and Black Widow is not afraid to carry actual firearms and more deadly weaponry than is commonly in use for the Bat family of heroes. So, Natalia Romanova, Black Widow, and Marvel Comics is going to take the win of this grudge match. Message me down below, let me know what you think of the outcome of this fight, and as always, suggestions for future grudge matches. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Grudge Match.